Hello, beautiful souls. So, today I want to tell you about phobias. Um, there is a big difference between fears and phobias. And what it is generally is that phobia is a fear that is irrational, and it's not something that makes sense, basically. So, there are many therapies, I'm sure, to help you with phobias, and whether they are efficient or not, I do not know. But I do want to share what has happened in some of my sessions. Different clients have come over time and shared their issue with having phobias with certain topics, and how it's just cleared in one session. The very first example is a client who came for a session actually for her grandson, and she explained that her grandson was totally afraid of the dark. Like, he wouldn't even go to the bathroom at night by himself. He would have to wake up his mom. And he was obviously very debilitated by this. So when I tune into his soul and his higher self, I discovered that he had a past life where, a long time ago, where he was actually buried alive by mistake, and nobody actually found out that he had been buried alive. He was still alive. So can you imagine that being at the time? You kind of, maybe you're asleep, or you're in a coma or something. They put you in a coffin, they put you under the ground, and then you wake up and all you see is the dark, and you might be shouting or making noise, nobody hears you. So basically what you or that person does is that every single cell of the body will crystallize that moment, whereas dark equals panic on board, I'm dying, and you actually die. So for this soul, when he reincarnated now in this lifetime, that memory was still in his cell, in his energetic field, meaning that this program of be careful, dark equals you may die, is still alive. So no wonder he had a phobia of the dark. So of course, with the work that I do, we basically cleared the memory of that lifetime, and that was done pretty fast. And then the grandmother, later reported that her grandson was okay. Another example is a mother who came for her daughter, and her daughter had a phobia of blood. And it was very annoying, of course, because she had come to the age of puberty and having her periods. And in a similar fashion, when I tuned into her energy, I also saw not just one but many past lives where blood had made a real deep impact on her soul and in her cellular memory. And one of the most striking one was she had a lifetime where she was in South America, and or Central America, sorry. And she was basically at the time of the Incas or the Mayas, where they were making human sacrifice to the gods. And her job, she was a man at the time, her job was to recuperate. So it was basically, imagine at the top of those, those pyramids with lots of stairs. That's what we see when we think of Mayas and Incas. And so the sacrifice was done at the top of the stairs, and then they chopped the head, and the head would roll down all the way down to the pyramid, and his job was to pick up the head and dispose of them. So of course, as you can imagine, the head, sorry, it's very graphic, but the head was, there was a lot of blood flowing out of the head. So that's something that traumatized this soul, and again stayed in the memory field of that person. So when I cleared all the past lives, not just this one, but I'm not going to describe all of them, again she felt better, and her relationship to blood changed completely. I'm just going to share one last one that's interesting. Another client, she was affected by the presence of dogs. She just was so fearful of dogs, and she could not explain why. I mean, she loved animals to a certain degree. She loved dogs, but she was so afraid of them. And in the same fashion, I tune into her soul and ask about if there are any past experiences or parallel experiences where dogs mean danger. And sure enough, I found, I can't remember which century, but I found a past life where it was also a girl in that other lifetime. She was basically coming from one village to another. It was a long time ago, going through a forest, and it was getting very dark, and she was by herself, and she had this long dress with an apron and everything, so she couldn't like run that well or whatever. And she encountered a pack of wolves, sorry, and basically hungry wolves. So no need to give you the rest of the story. So that's what she remembered, dying out of an attack from a pack of wolves. And even though they are, it's less likely to see wolves in her lifetime now, but whenever she sees a dog and wolves are similar to her brain. So that memory comes up and is still present in her cell, and so she freaks out when she sees dogs. And so in the same way, we had to clear the grip and the energy that this lifetime had on her in this life, so that she could be free, and now she's okay with dogs. So I'm just saying that this is maybe an unusual way to look at phobias that you may not have thought about. And it might be your case that your phobia is coming from something that is hard to find with normal therapy or other types of approach. Anyway, if it's something that you want to try, get in touch with me and we'll see if there is something that we can clear. What is very sure is that there is a law in this universe out of all the other laws, and it is cause and effect. You do not have a phobia out of the blue. There's always a root somewhere, and my job is to find where that root is from and then to eliminate the charge, the energetic charge that comes from that root, so that you can be free. Take care, my friends.